In a small town in Nigeria, Amara grew up under the heat of constant teasing and mockery. From a young age, she noticed how people looked at her differently. Her classmates would whisper behind her back, call her names, and make jokes about her weight. At first, these words stung, but as time passed, Amara began to harden her heart. She focused on her studies, reading as much as she could. Despite the bullying, she found comfort in her intelligence. She knew that if she wanted to escape the small town and prove everyone wrong, she had to pursue her dreams. And that dream was to become a lawyer. Her family supported her journey, though they couldn't fully understand the depth of the pain she experienced. They knew she was determined, but they couldn't protect her from the cruelty of her peers. Every day was a struggle for Amara. The words of the bullies echoed in her mind, but she pushed them away. She studied harder, hoping that one day, she would get the chance to show everyone who she really was. High school was a constant battleground for Amara. She felt as if she was always under a microscope, with eyes scrutinizing every move she made. The bullying didn't stop. Her classmates would often mock her for her size, calling her names like a big girl and too much. They even made cruel jokes about her ambition, laughing at her dream to become a lawyer. "How can someone like you be a lawyer?" they'd ask. But Amara never lost sight of her goal. Even when she felt alone and unsure, she reminded herself that she was more than the way others saw her. She spent long hours in the library, her nose buried in books. She wasn't just preparing for school exams, she was preparing for a future far beyond her current reality. Deep down, she knew the road ahead would be difficult, but her dream of becoming a lawyer was something no one could take away from her. Amara's final year in high school was the hardest. The bullying intensified, and sometimes it felt as though there was no escape. She often cried herself to sleep, wishing for a different life. But despite the pain, she refused to give up. Her teachers noticed her brilliance, especially in subjects like English and government, and encouraged her to keep going. "You have a bright future ahead of you, Amara," they told her. She took those words to heart. When her high school graduation day arrived, Amara stood tall, even though her heart was heavy with the weight of the years of torment. She held her head high as she walked across the stage to receive her diploma. The bullies, who once taunted her, now had nothing to say. Amara's determination had paid off. But it wasn't just the diploma that she valued, it was the strength she had gained through every struggle. After graduation, Amara knew that she couldn't stay in her small town. She had outgrown it, and the memories of high school were still too fresh. With her family's encouragement, she applied to a university in the city. She was accepted with honors, which was a big deal for someone like her. The news filled her heart with pride, but it also brought a sense of fear. What if the city was just as harsh as high school? When Amara arrived at the university, she was both excited and nervous. The campus was huge, filled with students from all walks of life. But for the first time in a long time, she felt a sense of freedom. Here, no one knew her. No one cared about her size or her past. She could start over and focus entirely on her studies. She was determined to make her dream of becoming a lawyer a reality. University life was both exciting and overwhelming for Amara. Though she found solace in her studies, she still struggled with feelings of inadequacy. She often felt out of place among her peers, many of whom came from more privileged backgrounds. The whispers she once faced in high school still haunted her. She was still the big girl in the classroom, but now, her classmates were more subtle in their teasing. Amara knew she had to work harder than ever to succeed. She threw herself into her studies, spending late nights in the library, working on assignments, and practicing for debates. Her passion for law grew stronger each day. She attended every lecture, took detailed notes, and participated in class discussions. Slowly, her classmates began to see her differently, not as the overweight girl from high school, but as a brilliant, determined student with a sharp mind. In her second year of university, Amara began to gain confidence. She started to make friends who valued her for who she truly was, not her appearance. Her academic performance was top-notch, and her professors often praised her dedication and intelligence. She even joined the university's law society, a move that surprised many of her peers. Amara's dream was no longer just a distant hope, it was becoming a reality. But the road was still not easy. She had to work harder than others, prove herself in every class, and constantly remind herself that she was worthy of success. The sting of the past still lingered, but Amara had grown stronger. With every lecture, every assignment, and every challenge, she moved closer to her goal. During her third year, Amara landed her first internship at a prestigious law firm in Lagos. It was a big break, and she couldn't believe it. She had worked so hard for this moment, and it was finally happening. The law firm was located in the heart of Lagos, the city of dreams and endless possibilities. When Amara first walked into the firm, she felt a mixture of excitement and fear. It was a whole new world, one that was far different from the university campus. She was surrounded by successful lawyers and business people, and it felt like everything she had worked for was within reach. But even in this new environment, she couldn't shake the feeling of being an outsider. The city was fast-paced and demanding, and Amara felt the pressure to succeed. At the law firm, Amara was assigned to work on several high-profile cases. She was amazed by the work she was doing and how quickly she was learning. She was determined to prove herself, showing everyone that she had what it took to succeed. Despite the challenges, Amara felt a sense of fulfillment she had never known before. She realized that this was what she was meant to do. One afternoon, Amara had the chance to meet Femi, one of the city's most influential businessmen. He was a client of the firm, and as he walked into the office, everyone in the room seemed to stand a little taller. Femi was known for his success and wealth, and he had an aura of power about him. But when he spoke to Amara, he was warm and kind. He complimented her work and gave her advice about the future. Amara was surprised by how down-to-earth he was. She never imagined that someone like Femi would take an interest in her work. Over the next few months, Amara and Femi's professional relationship grew. She continued to impress him with her skills, and he began to notice her determination and intelligence. Despite his busy schedule, Femi made time to mentor Amara, offering advice and guiding her through difficult cases. Amara was grateful for his support, though she was hesitant at first to accept it. She wasn't used to someone like Femi taking an interest in her. But the more they worked together, the more she began to respect him, not just as a businessman, but as a person who cared about her growth. Femi, on his part, was drawn to Amara's intellect, her passion, and her unwavering belief in herself. Though their worlds were different, they seemed to complement each other perfectly. As the months went by, Amara and Femi spent more time together. They shared long discussions about law, business, and life in general. Amara began to open up to Femi in ways she hadn't with anyone else. She told him about her struggles growing up, the bullying, and her dream to become a lawyer. Femi listened attentively, never once judging her. One evening, after a long day at work, Femi invited Amara to dinner. They went to a quiet restaurant by the water, and Amara was surprised by how comfortable she felt with him. They laughed, talked, and enjoyed each other's company. By the end of the night, Amara realized that her feelings for Femi had started to change. He was no longer just her mentor, he had become someone she admired deeply, someone she was beginning to care for. Weeks turned into months, and Amara and Femi's connection grew stronger. They spent more time together, both in and out of the office. One evening, as they walked through the streets of Lagos, Femi turned to Amara and confessed that he had feelings for her. "I've grown to admire you, Amara," he said. "You are more than just a brilliant lawyer. You have a heart that shines." Amara was taken aback. She hadn't expected this at all. For a moment, she stood still, processing his words. She had always admired Femi, but she never thought he might feel the same way. Her heart raced as she looked at him. After Femi's confession, Amara spent a lot of time reflecting on their relationship. She had spent so many years focusing on her career that she hadn't considered the possibility of love. But Femi had changed that. He made her believe that she was worthy of love, despite all the pain of her past. She realized that she had developed feelings for him too. One evening, as they sat by the water again, Amara looked at Femi and smiled. "I feel the same way," she said softly. Femi's eyes lit up with happiness, and he reached for her hand. It was the beginning of something beautiful, something Amara had never dared to dream of. As Amara and Femi's relationship blossomed, they became more than just colleagues or lovers. They became partners in every sense of the word. Femi continued to support Amara's career, while Amara's dedication to her work inspired Femi in ways he never expected. Their partnership wasn't without its challenges. Femi's business often required him to travel, and Amara's cases kept her busy. But no matter how hectic their schedules became, they made time for each other. They learned to balance their love with their ambitions, always finding ways to keep their bond strong. Amara felt proud of everything she had accomplished. She was no longer the bullied girl from her small town. She was a successful lawyer in Lagos, building a future with the man she loved. Amara and Femi began planning their wedding. It was a celebration not only of their love but of everything they had been through together. Their journey had been filled with challenges, but they had emerged stronger and more united. Their wedding was a beautiful affair, held in the heart of Lagos. Amara looked radiant in her gown, and Femi couldn't take his eyes off her. Surrounded by family, friends, and colleagues, they exchanged vows, promising to support each other through every high and low. As they stood there, hand in hand, Amara realized that this was the culmination of everything she had worked for, not just her career, but the love and happiness she had found with Femi. Their journey was far from over, but Amara knew that with Femi by her side, she could face anything. Amara and Femi's marriage was built on mutual respect and understanding. They were no longer just partners in love but partners in life. As they both continued to excel in their careers, they found new ways to work together, supporting each other's dreams and ambitions. Amara became a well-known lawyer, respected for her intelligence and determination. She worked on landmark cases, becoming a voice for those who couldn't afford legal representation. Femi's business empire expanded, and he used his wealth to support charitable causes, something Amara deeply admired. Together, they were unstoppable. The people who once mocked Amara now saw her as a role model. She had gone from being the bullied girl in high school to a successful lawyer and the wife of one of the most powerful men in Lagos. Amara had achieved her dreams, not in spite of her past, but because of it. Every challenge she faced only made her stronger. And now, with Femi by her side, she knew that the best was yet to come. As Amara sat by the window, looking out over the city, she reflected on everything that had brought her to this point. The quiet moments were rare now, but she cherished them. In her thoughts, she revisited the girl she once was, the girl who faced endless teasing, the girl who believed her dreams were out of reach. That girl had grown into a woman who had accomplished more than she could have ever imagined. Amara realized that every hardship, every tear, and every moment of doubt had been a part of the journey that led her here. Without the struggles, she wouldn't have become the person she was today. She thought about her family, her career, and the people she had helped along the way. She had lived a life full of purpose, and she was proud of everything she had achieved. Amara and Femi were still at the top of their game, but they knew that life had much more to offer. They had made their mark on Lagos, but they dreamed of making a difference beyond the city. They began discussing plans for expanding their foundation's reach to other parts of the country, helping more people from disadvantaged backgrounds pursue their dreams. They also began to think about the future of their own family, ensuring that the values they had instilled in their child would continue to guide them. They wanted to create a world where success was measured by the impact you had on others, not just the wealth you accumulated. With each new day, Amara and Femi knew that the best was yet to come. With Femi by her side and their child growing up with a heart full of love and ambition, Amara knew that the future held limitless possibilities. Her dream had been seen, her heart had been heard, and her life had become a legacy of love, strength, and unwavering determination. The girl who was once bullied and overlooked had become a woman whose impact would be felt for generations to come.